Hello everyone, I am Joanna Basols, the founder of the Healers of the Light Academy. I am also an author, a healer, and a coach. And I'm here to show you how you can heal yourself by balancing your energetic elements. In today's video, I'm bringing you a case of a client of mine that needs to find what is blocking her in order to fulfill her dreams. Like, she feels like there's something that is holding her back, that's not allowing her to live the dreams life that she has. She has goals, she has all these plans, and there's always something that is on the way, and it's just blocking her. Every time that she does something, there is something that comes up, and she just can't move forward. So let's see how I was able to help her. For that, I use the soul reprogramming method. This is a method that I created to find energetic imbalances. And this is a great tool because it helps us go back to the minimum particle when a blockage was created. So we can go back even past lives, even when we were created from stars or planets or galaxies. So it goes back really far. And it helps us find any imbalances, even in levels of consciousness and frequencies, in elements, in anything that there is that could be causing this energetic imbalance. And of course, we can also see things in this present life if there is something, a relationship or something that caused this recording, this blockage for anything that we want to do. So in this case, first of all, what I did was a full reprogramming. With that, I mean that I had to search all of her elements and start finding individual imbalances one by one. For that, I use a chart where I can write down the perfect number. I have a list, let's say, for each element, what should be the perfect balance for a human being. So all humans have the same configuration of elements as a human body and soul. And then after that, we have programs, and those programs have their own individual elements too. That's what makes us different. But in a certain point, we're all the same, right? Something makes us a human or a cat or a dog or a monkey or something else. So I was able to find there were certain imbalances in some of those parts, and that's what starts bringing pain, disease, illness, things like that. When the elements that you have right now are in some sort of discordance with whatever should have been the perfect balance for a human being, then it's when you start seeing all this conflict in your physical body, maybe in your thoughts, in the way you think, and emotionally, and many other ways too. But in this case, we're focusing mostly in career goals, aspirations, and things like that. So it's more like an emotional thing that we're working today. So what was blocking her was interesting because I found several things, in her present life that were causing the discordant energies. So first of all, let's line this up. So the purpose of her life is like everybody else, is the elevation of consciousness. We all come here to elevate our consciousness in some way. And for that, we have programs. The program that she has chosen is to be a writer. So through her writing, she is elevating her own consciousness and other people's too. But it's like every time that she tries to come up with an idea, or it's like doing something, there's this blockage. It's like a writer's block is what they call it. And not only that, but like, she's trying to go to an event, something happens, and it's like always on the way. So I was able to find that her program had a whole different frequency than the frequency that she was vibrating in. Also, the configuration of the elements of that program, as far as water, fire, air, and earth, was different than hers. Remember that we're all multidimensional. So if we have if we want something to happen, we want to manifest something, we have to become that in order to also see that manifested, because everything is a reflection of itself in different forms. So if I want to manifest this life purpose, this program, I have to, my frequency has to be the same as that. I have to become what I want to see manifested. So in this case, in the writers, I'm gonna just write it down here. In the writer program, she has, or that program has an elemental configuration. So the elements are water, fire, air, and earth. So using this method, I can find out what is the right percentage of each one of these elements that she should have in order to accomplish this program, or for this program. So let's say first, what is the configuration of the program? What is the percentage of water in this program? 50%. So 50% of water is what the program calls for. Then how much fire? Only 10% of fire. How much air? 30% of air. And earth, 10%. Okay, very good. So this is the configuration. So for a writer program, you need 50% of water, which means that you're focused, you're calm, you're able to remain still, right? Because if you are all hyper, it's impossible that you can just focus in writing. So for a writer, this will be like the perfect configuration. Only 10% of fire, so you can take action and actually write. And then 30% of air, which means ideas, connection to creativity. And earth, 10%, which means grounding. So when you are writing, you want to fly out. You don't want to be so grounded and so stiff or so strict. You want to be flexible, you want to fly, you want to be connected to higher consciousness. So only 10% of earth element is needed for a writer program. And so now we see Janice, her name. Janice, what is her actual configuration of the elements right now? What percentage of water does she have right now? 20%. 20%. So she has 20% of water. How much fire? 50% of fire. How much air? 10%. And how much earth? 20%. Okay, so we see the differences. If she doesn't become what she wants to manifest, or the program that she wants to live, how is she going to ever find that in herself? You are a writer. You don't make a writer, so you have to be a writer. So right now she only has 20% of water and 50% of fire. That means that she has too much energy, of the active energy, of the energy that makes you just hyper, out of focus, overreacting, overacting, doing too much. So she will find very difficult to focus and just simply sit and relax and write with 50% of fire in her configuration. Only 20% of water, that means like really little focus. This is more like a configuration that I would probably suggest for someone who is doing something physically, like a bodybuilder, or someone who is teacher of some physical thing, you know, or someone who is running professionally, or an athlete, or someone like that. An athlete could have 50% of fire, 20% of water. That will be probably, you know, more appropriate for an athlete than for a writer. And with 10% of air, there's very little creativity. 20% of earth, she's it's not too much, but it's like too grounded and too strict, and she doesn't allow ideas. She doesn't allow flexibility. It's like being too firm for the right configuration of this program. So where does this come from? Why she has so much fire? Why is there so much fire in her life? What's happening here? Well, there are a few reasons why we have a configuration of elements. One of them is astrologically. We are born under certain, the influence of certain planets and stars that makes us be more of one element than others. That's why we see in the zodiacal signs that there are some that are water, fire, air, or earth. But this doesn't mean that we have to be subject to that. This is only guidance to let us know that we're more influenced by those elements, and that we should watch out, and that we should be aware of it, and that we can change it. So what I was able to find, I went back into her past relationships throughout her life. I wanted to see what, if she had recorded something in particularly that made her have so much fire element. So I went to my chart about the relationships with persons in their life, and I found that she had mother and father issues. So everybody has this. Mother and father issues is one of the most popular. So mother and father, and how many, let me just get my numbers chart here. Oh, here, just how, because we always use. How many discordant energies in the mother and father issues did she record? 3. Okay. Let's see which elements were these. Which was the first discordant energy? Fire. The second one, fire. The third one, water. So I have fire, fire, water. Is there another group that she recorded discordant energies with? Yes. Which ones? Friends in the aspects of education, people that she studied, went to school with, or anyone in the aspect of education. Could be teachers too. How many discordant energies she recorded there? 6. So in education, she had 6 discordant energies. Let's see which ones are these. The first discordant energy is air, the second one is water, the third one is fire. Air, water, fire. What is the next 3? Water, fire, and fire. Water, fire, and fire. And let's see if there is any other group that she recorded discordant energies. Yeah. She also recorded discordant energies with friends outside of other aspects. That means could be brothers, sisters, relatives. Is it a brother, sister, relative, friend? Yeah, it's just friends. Okay, friends. How many discordant energies she recorded with friends? 5. Okay, we have 5 discordant energies, and let's see what were these. Fire, fire, fire. So the first 3 were fire. Fire, fire, fire. What else? Air, fire, fire. Air, fire, fire. Okay. Did she record any discordant energies with any other group? No. So she only had these 3 groups. She's also fairly young. You know, it's not married yet, so there's no marriage issues or children or anything like that. So these are the main groups: friends, education, mother and father. Okay. So we can see that she has recorded discordant energies in the element of fire. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. This means that something happened, an experience, an argument, something physical. Usually fire means something physical, you know, like something where she was physically hurt, or she recorded the experience as something physical. Like, for example, she went to a massage and then got like a broken neck from the massage. So that's like a physical, not necessarily being abused, but like something happened and something was wrong or happened in a bad form. Or she probably was playing sports at school and kept breaking her leg all the time. So that's possibly what happens. You know, she's involved in physical activities and is constantly getting this, is being hurt or something is happening. So in reality, it doesn't matter for us what it is. I mean, we could go back and try to do that. And whenever I do the therapy with my clients, I try to go back to each one of them and we try to think when, because we can also ask at what age each one of these things happen. So we can try to like release the emotion. But in order to balance these energies directly with a method in an astral level, we don't need to know what happened. We only know that we have imbalances of these elements, and we have to ask them, our committees, to heal each one of these and release the imbalance. So what I do is I go in groups of 3 because these imbalances are already in the composition of our body or her body. So if I release all of them at once, she's going to feel like, what happened, right? So we want to be gentle. So I go 3 by 3, releasing these discordant energies until she can go back to her normal composition. So let's ask, because I already had done this for her, let's ask what is Jana's original composition. So once these are healed, what is the percentage of each one of the elements that Jana should have in her? So her water should be 30%. Her fire should be 50%. Anyways. Her air should be 20% and no earth. Very little earth. Why she had so little? So has 0 earth? Okay. So 20 and 0. No earth element with her. Okay, so that's probably what she would have. Now we have to find ways to manage this, make it match the rider's configuration, knowing that she has too much fire right now. We have to reduce this fire element. So we can do it energetically here. Here I ask that these elements are balanced in these percentages for her to be able to leave this program of riders. So I do it through here. But other things that she does that I recommended her that she could do in the physical level is that she eats certain foods that could balance this. So we went through some periods of intermittent fasting to release the toxins and things that could be preventing us using the food to manage the elements. So we added a lot of water because water reduces fire. We know that. So it was more like a fruit and leafy vegetables diet that she went through. This is all plant-based, of course. So we were avoiding everything that was spicy, anything that was hot, definitely no animal products. Nothing that was activating her elements in any way. So everything was calming, soothing, relaxing, foods that are just full of water, like I said, you know, some vegetables, especially leafy vegetables and fruits. And then the air is basically we can promote or we can activate the air element with things that have fragrance, things that smell. So, and you could eat things, I would say maybe you can have herbal teas and things that are, you know, activating that. Every time you have an herbal tea, so imagine you're having a lavender tea, immediately you start feeling, you know, you start connecting. I don't know if this happens to you. It happens to me because I eat very few, you know, I eat very little things, and when I eat, the effect of that particular food, I can feel it in my entire body. And I do that on purpose because I use food for a purpose, not just to eat for fun. So food is actually my tool to balance my elements. So I make sure that I'm clean of food most of the day, or whenever, you know, every morning I start my day, I want to have energy in the first 5 hours of the day. So then at that time I eat fruits that have a little bit more sugar or things that will give me more energy. But if I am ready to rest, then I don't eat anything from like 6 p.m. and all the way, you know, to the next day. It all depends what you really want to do. If you're someone that works all day and at night you go to the gym after work, then you need energy at that time, then we start adding a little fire element after 6 p.m. So then maybe you have a smoothie that has cayenne pepper, or we add all this mixture of different peppers that make you really want to go work out. So it's not like you need a energy drink or something like that. It's really bad for you, but I guess you know that. So we use natural things. And this is something that I talk about in my book number 2 that is coming, cellular activation, what foods we can use to activate each element. So keep an eye out for the book 2. It's being released pretty soon. Okay, very good, guys. So once we have done this for her, she can now feel that she is a writer because she has embodied that program in the configuration of the elements. Another thing that we do is also check what is the frequency of this program. How many hertz is being a writer? How many hertz is that? 741 hertz is the writer's program. And I think I have an explanation for this, but it's very metaphysical. Usually 741 is the opposite of 528. So 741 hertz creates this funnel through where 528 hertz goes through like super fast. So if you're writing, you become that channel, right? And all your words, everything that comes out of you comes in 528. And because that's happening to me, I'm also a writer, and I ask like, because 741 is known for being discordant frequency. So I asked, why am I vibrating at 741 when I am writing about love, I'm writing elevation of consciousness? And it's because you need to be the opposite in the moment that you do that. But it doesn't mean that in all day she's going to be in that frequency. It's only when she's doing what she's doing. It's a program. What is her regular frequency, her normal frequency otherwise? 436, which is good. 436 is like a frequency that unites people. It's like someone that brings people together, and it's great because she writes about relationships, so it's perfect for this case. So the only thing that I suggested to her to make sure that she reaches this frequency when she writes, besides doing these things with the elements, is to make sure that she's just requested, you know, right now I want to vibrate at this frequency. So you give commands to your body, or you can also, you know, when she does her ritual, because in order to be this, she has to change the way she eats and does a lot of things. Every time before she eats her food or does something before writing, she just talks to the food and tells the food, this that I'm going to eat is going to help me reach the frequency that I need to be the best writer that I can be. So there are many little mantras that we practice in a therapy like this. Very good, guys. I hope this made sense and that you got the idea of why sometimes you want to do something but it's not happening, and the reason is because you are not what you want to see manifested. You need to become the elemental composition of what you want to see in order for that to happen. Very good, guys. You can always watch more videos like this at healersofthelight.com/videos, and see you next time.